To celebrate the recent launch of the Evercore Heroes Beta, I'll be going over 10 quick tips and tricks to help you get started with your adventures throughout Lumerea. Before we get into it, for those who aren't aware, Evercore Heroes is a brand new competitive PvE game where up to 16 players in teams of 4 try to outlast and outplay their opposition against unique and challenging enemies and environmental mechanics. Now that you're all caught up, we'll get started with tip number 1, Character Overview. Evercore Heroes is a roster-based team game where you currently have a selection of 16 heroes to choose from. This can be quite overwhelming if you're not familiar with any of their skills and abilities, but luckily, in the Character Select menu, you can click on this icon to preview all of the skills associated with each hero. You'll start every match with a skill point that can be allocated towards one of the first 3 skills, and then eventually, after you level up in the game, you will unlock the 4th ability as well. Number 2, Team Composition. When it comes to partying up, I found the most success in my games when we went with one hero from the tank group whose job is to protect the team from enemy attacks, one hero from the support group whose job is to heal and buff the party, and then filling out the remaining 2 slots with damage dealers whose main objective is to take down enemies as quickly as they can. It's encouraged to try out loads of different combinations to see which heroes can work well together and what playstyle suits you best. Number 3, Team Colors. Each of the 4 teams who are competing will be assigned to one color so you can easily keep track of who's in the lead. Team Sword is blue, Team Shield is pink, Team Lance is green, and Team Dart is yellow. You can view what team you're on by looking at the top right of the screen, which will show an arrow and a highlight over your team's color. You'll also notice that other players from different teams will be seen as a wisp on your own map, which aligns with their team color, so you can keep an eye on which objectives they are heading towards. Number 4, Getting Around. You can activate your sprint ability by pressing the Z key. This generally takes a second to cast, so it will temporarily stop your character from moving, but once activated, you'll now be in a wisp form, which makes you a little bit faster at getting to objectives. However, if you cast another ability or take any damage, you will break out of this form, so players will need to strategically switch between forms depending on the situation that they are in. Each map also has fast travel mechanics, such as teleporters or zip lines, which can be seen on the minimap. Number 5, Team Score and Luum. Once the match begins, you'll notice each team starts out with 100 points or Luum, which is indicated by this purple diamond icon and serves essentially as your team's overall hit points. You can increase this number as your team completes certain objectives on the map, and the score can decrease if your Evercore or home base gets attacked by enemies. The primary objective is to make sure that your team does not reach a score of 0 at any point in the game. Surge waves also occur throughout the match and will send a large number of enemies towards your home base. The team that fails to defend their base will be eliminated, and this process happens twice throughout the match, leaving just 2 teams left for the final phase. Number 6, Map Icon Colors. Diving a little bit deeper into the specific types of map objectives, you'll notice that there are lots of different colors and icons which represent the various types of objectives you'll need to complete and the rewards you can earn from completing them. If the icon is yellow, that means that the team will be rewarded with gold, which is used to purchase items called shards from the shop. Red equates to power, which provides the team with experience points for leveling or sometimes even a shard for the team. And light blue will reward you with Luum, which, as mentioned before, acts as your base's health points. Finally, completing a dark purple icon objective actually disrupts the other teams by sending enemies to directly attack their Evercore or by disabling certain aspects of their map. Number 7, Map Objectives. Now I'll go over some of the actual icons on your minimap and the corresponding objectives. The generator icon, which looks like 3 triangles, can be completed simply by defeating all of the enemies who guard it. This will reward players based on the colors, which we mentioned in the previous tip, such as experience, Luum, or gold, passively over time. The next icon is the crucible, which looks like a cave. The objective here is to destroy the structure in the middle, but also defend yourself from all the enemies that spawn around it. The reward here will be based on the color of the icon, but rather than passively receiving it over time, you will receive it instantly. The third icon is the battle horn, which will require your team to kill as many enemies during a short period of time, which will result in an amplified reward based on your performance and again, the color of the icon. Number 8, Shopping and Gearing Up. The items or equipment in this game are called shards, which have various rarities and effects associated with them. You can purchase shards from the shop, which is near your main base, and you can have up to 5 equipped at any given time, with an additional 3 in reserve, which can be swapped in based on your current situation. Each map also has a secret shop that players will need to find, which offers rarer, more powerful shards at a higher cost. Number 9. Different map types. Currently there are 3 different maps that you can compete in. The Moxie Treetops has a jungle theme and will be home to a variety of poisonous enemies as well as zip lines to help you traverse through the map. The Crew Mines has a mountainous and rocky aesthetic and is host to a range of beasts and golems. You can also find teleporters here to get around quickly. The final map is called Hoarfrost Harbour, which is the smallest of the 3 maps and has an icy biome with frost walls that block off players. Number 10. The game's phases. Now that you know a bit more about the basics, I can touch on the overall phases of each match. Teams will start out by completing smaller objectives to earn more power and resources until the Luum Rush event, which will have all teams competing to complete a specific objective, at the end of which they'll be ranked based on their performance and rewarded accordingly. Right after this event, players will need to teleport back to their base to defend their Evercore from the Surge Wave. The first team who has their Luum reach 0 during this phase will be eliminated. After this event, the cycle repeats once more with another eventual Luum Rush, followed by a second Surge Wave and elimination. The 2 teams who are victorious will now need to prepare for the final phase, which is dependent on the map and will have them go head to head in another series of objectives. If your team comes out on top during this final phase, you'll be awarded first place along with the highest rank of post-game rewards. And that's all we have for today's video. If you are excited to get into the Evercore Heroes Beta, I'll leave a link in the description below where you can purchase a Founders Pack and jump right in. Until next time, thanks for watching.